So I want to talk about a really powerful experience that I just had last night with my son. He's 2 years old, and juega bebé, papá está grabando. He's 2 years old, and this experience was super powerful because I made a connection between what I do as an energy healer, as a soul alignment coach, and I saw the link between that and parenting. Now, this came about from me listening to Joe Hudson. And Joe Hudson is a coach. He's a life coach, business coach. He's really good at what he does. And he has recommended for anybody who's interested in learning about parenting to look into hand-in-hand parenting. So I looked into them. I don't know too much about them. I think they're a nonprofit. Okay. So this is called Listen. That's the book. And so what they recommend is, hold on, my son was crying a little bit. So even right now, so basically the idea is to let your child cry. Let your child cry, and not only that, be there to allow your child to let the emotions flow. And so for a long time, I've been struggling because, you don't want your child to cry for a good while. And so, you start hearing your child cry for more than 10 minutes, then you just think that it's just not going to work or they're not going to listen. And, but that has been conditioning and just misunderstanding of the way emotions work. What I'm seeing is that through crying, children can release past traumas or past emotions that they have trapped within them. Now, I understand this pretty clearly because of the emotion code. As an emotion code practitioner myself, I'm able to help individuals who are carrying trapped emotions that have, for example, affected them and given them discomfort in their body. And in releasing them, it allows them to heal their body. It allows for the body to heal more easily. And so just seeing the impact of trapped emotions has been powerful for me. But to see it be used for parenting and not using the modality of the emotion code is extremely powerful, because there's a principle here. And the principle is that allowing the individual to process their emotions gives them the power of just being themselves, and also being themselves, and giving them the power to receive the wisdom that they need, and receive the guidance that they need. And so for my son to see this, work so well has been very powerful. Now, the way that this worked in our situation was, I have my bed with my wife, and then, we have another child on the way. And so my son started sleeping on his own bed for a good while, but once he realized that my wife was pregnant, he just didn't want to let her go. So he wanted to sleep with us all the time. And he's been doing that for like 3 months now, or 2 months. And the issue with that is that it's a little difficult for us to sleep comfortably with our son in the bed. Now he's bigger, he's moving around, he's really attached to my wife, so he's really, making it hard for her to have her own space. And so with that happening, I've been feeling bad because I'm like, every time I try to put him on his own bed, he cries. And he just keeps fighting it, and he keeps fighting it, and he just keeps getting back up on the bed, and I had to put him back down. But finally, yesterday, he was able to sleep on his bed. It took him like 5-6 times of getting back up. Him getting back up on the bed, me putting him back down, and him crying. I have to say, it probably took like an hour for this to happen. I was exhausted, and so I fell asleep while this happened. But it seems like he also fell asleep with me. And I want to talk about that experience. So how it was. So I sat him down. I sat right next to him, like on my bed. So my bed is elevated, and he's like right here, so he can just climb right up. And I'm just sitting like this. I was laying down like this. And so as he was trying to climb up, I would just grab him and put him down and let him know, hey, you're gonna sleep in your own bed now, and that's all right. I'm here for you. And so he would cry, of course, but through the crying, he was releasing other emotions from the past. One of them was for sure either a feeling of anxiety or a feeling of abandonment. I'm not sure, but that was from him seeing that my wife was pregnant, right? And so him either wanting to be there with my wife and being there for his little brother, he just wanted to be there with them. And for some reason, me putting him on the bed meant him not being able to be with them. And so he cried and he let that go, right? And then he cried about something else. It was about, he started feeling ouch. He started feeling that he was in pain. And so that must have been a feeling, an emotion of pain that he didn't get to feel in his body. It was something that he was feeling in his body, but he didn't get to release it. Because he pointed to his arm, to his hand, and it was a little bit of, he had fallen before and he scratched his hand, so that, he bled a little bit. And so he pointed to it and he started crying, and he was crying through that. And there was another thing that he was crying about, but I don't remember what it was. But he let go of three experiences that he had trapped in his body. 3 trapped emotions that he had in there, and he let that go through his crying. And they weren't even related possibly to the bed. They weren't related to the bed, or not directly related. And yet he was still able to release them and fall asleep in the bed. Now, right now he's making a noise. Right? He's just playing in his area right now. He's right next to me, and even right now I had to put the boundary, ask for my space. I'm learning. I don't think I'm an expert, man, but this is working. That's all I'm saying. So I asked him for my space, and he understood he can be here. He cried a little bit. That's why I had to pause the video. But I'm learning a lot, and so there's a few ways that it happens. They mentioned the broken cookie, which is just having maybe your child just throws a whole tantrum just because of one little detail that happens. It wasn't about the detail. It was about the pent-up emotions that he had or she had within her or him, and that needed to be released. And so that cookie crumbling was a catalyst for those emotions to come flooding, okay? Another thing is the spoiled outing. So maybe your child, you go out, you're having a great time, family's there, your child's loving it, and then out of nowhere, the child just starts crying. And so from the book, that could have been a situation. That could be a situation where your child is feeling safe. She's loving it, or he's loving it, and they're having such a good time, and they just think that that's the perfect time for them to release because they feel safe. And so, you sit there and you listen, right? You listen to the child, and you're there with them. Another example is Stop Me. So Stop Me. This is it's just when you're kind of in a rush, and you're just not giving the child enough attention. Maybe you're busy, and it happens. Obviously, we all know that. And then your child just decides to start crying, right? It's just a difficult child, not cooperating, asking for attention, starts crying, just throwing things all over the place, making a mess. That's her seeking connection, okay? That's him seeking connection. And so that's a call for you to go over and give him a hug, okay? And not even give him a hug, just be there for them. And so I want to talk about this because I'm giving examples of ways that this happens, and then I'll talk about kind of how the author, it's 2 authors, but how the author says to go about doing this, the technique specifically. And there's withdrawal. Withdrawal could look like your child just having a lot of emotions once again that need to be released, but they do it in a way where they detach themselves, so they're up in the clouds. They're up in the clouds, and they're sucking their thumb. Jetty. Calladito, ¿ok? Puedes jugar, pero no estés pateando, bebé. Papá está hablando, ¿ok? Ahorita termino y jugamos. All right? So it could be like even right now, like my son is obviously wanting attention, so he wants that connection. It's not just attention, he wants that connection, and so he's kicking the toys and making a bunch of noise. Ahorita jugamos, ¿ok? All right, buddy? Chócala. Ok. Ahorita jugamos. Ok. Espera, ok. Okay, so then there's withdrawal. And so, you could be sucking their thumb, or they're just like super disconnected. And and maybe they're twisting their hair. Let's see, twisting their hair, clutching a blanket, or an action figure for dear life. So this just signals that I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't feel good. So they're not ready to risk an active upset, but they're disconnected enough that they can't use their mind or body fully. Okay, there's a lot more technical stuff here, but I know I'm just going to recommend this book for sure. Aggression is, your child is being aggressive. They're attacking the dog, or they're messing with the other kids. That's another call for connection. Okay. And then distracted play can be just, them messing around with things. They're not really doing much except just like superficially playing with things. So when there's a small challenge that arises, they just jump to the next thing right away. And I see this a lot. I see this a lot also with some of the kids that I work with as working with kids with learning disabilities. I see this a lot in the sense that I think it all boils down to a lack of connection. All right. Now, physically you can be there, but emotionally they're calling for you, right? And so this can, in the long term, it can affect people's ways to interact with adults and to feel like they can learn, feel like they're in the right environment, and so yeah, like it's really powerful. It can affect so many kids. Now, in terms of the technique itself, it's called Stay Listen. All right. So Stay Listen is just it's a process of being with your child and having them cry, having them release those emotions, and centering them through your presence. Okay, so you also have to be centered and allow for their emotions to flow, right? And so for myself, there's been moments where I've had to cry with him. I've cried just because of the emotion that flows through him. It's so powerful, it's beautiful, and it moves me also. And so, when I'm with him, I like to rub his heart. That helps me a lot, to bring that awareness to the heart. And so when I'm rubbing his heart, he's feeling, and he, at one point last night, he like grabbed my hand because I was rubbing his chest, and he was there. I could feel him feeling that area. And the heart is powerful because that's what I use with my clients. I use that to center them. When there's a bunch of chaos, you can always go to your heart. And that's where the teacher lies. This is a lot of this from my understanding of esoteric study and just experience. That is where the teacher lies, and so you can reach out to the higher power that you feel a connection to, whether it be God, Jesus, other things, the universe. And so this is where you have your channel to that. And so you want to be able to sit there in the storm and be there with them as they go through the process. And so a lot of the emotional healing that I've seen as a practitioner has been through that. And now I do want to make a separate video on the emotion code, but I'm seeing that sometimes it's not going to be just some modality. It's not going to be the emotion code that does it. It's going to be the individual actually going through the emotions and allowing for them to be experienced and be felt and be heard. Okay. Now, a lot of the kids, in terms of the work, how this applies to the work that I do, a lot of the clients that I work with, like the guys or the girls, they have an inner child within them. And so there's emotions that they haven't released, that they didn't get to process when they were younger. And they're held within the body still. And so that stops them from doing the things that they most want, being the person they truly are. And now I can feel my son is way more relaxed. Like, he was throwing, and took him some time. I'm checking in on him, and this is a process, bro. Like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I truly don't know what I'm doing, but I know it's working, and I love it, and I love the way that it's making me feel as a father. It's making him, him and I connect more. We went on a walk. He woke up at the same time I woke up, and now for me, there's no opposition in terms of, hey, I need to get work done. Now I feel like he can begin to understand, when dad's working. I can play with mom. I can play with mom, or I can play with grandma or grandpa. It's not a sense of abandonment that's being held, right? Okay, so this is powerful, dude, and I'm just getting started. All right, this is just chapter 1. I'm gonna definitely bring this to my wife because I know we've been struggling. We've been trying to figure things out, and I hope that you guys find this helpful. More importantly, the book is called Listen, 5 Simple Tools to Meet Your Everyday Parenting Challenges. It's by Patty Whipfler and Tosha Shore, M.A. Okay? Now I'm going to just sit here with my son so he can be on the thumbnail, and then we'll get this going. Yes. Let's go. Okay. Peace.